Please subscribe, like and activate the bell if you like the content to continue with more. Give your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you. Full stop. Azemmour is a Moroccan city located on the left bank of the Azemmour River, not far from its mouth, located on the axis of the National Road and degrees 1. It is 15 kilometers north of the city of El Jadida and 80 kilometers south of the city of Casablanca. The city is connected to the motorway network. Azemmour is a Berber word for the wild olive tree, also known as zabouj. It is a city that has become accustomed, like its neighbor Dakhla, the city of El Jadida, and like the rest of the cities of Morocco, which has a long history, the features of which appear in the remaining walls, buildings, landmarks and collective memory documented in books. But Azemmour is already present in history, as its daily agendas do not go beyond at present, as it flows with the concerns of its inhabitants among its children, watering its sources with the river Al-Rabi, which is considered its ether valley stretching from time immemorial, and tells what the boats of the young men traveled by who caught the abundance of fish. What is strange is that the city of Azemmour is not only a city that has gone through great historical periods, of hit and run between foreign invasion and its liberation, but it is rather more than that. It is the city of a very famous Moroccan world traveler, Mustafa al-Azmouri, or as he is called in Europe and Latin America as Tabanico al-Azmouri, the first who discovered Florida in the United States of America, according to Western accounts which have nothing to do with what the Arabs documented. The city of Azemmour and the village of Fez. Before telling part of the story of Tabanico, we will examine the city in which he was born, which is Azemmour, which was present in history, and traveling there was a journey towards civilization, and as we used to say about traveling from the city of Azemmour to the village of Fez. Yes, that's how this city was, which remains a spiritual beacon in historical depth to this day, and is full of millions of great stories for its simple people. The city, which stands today as a spiritual sanctuary due to the large number of shrines it contains, gave birth to many righteous saints of God, while others came from other cities and regions to settle there, and it has become one of a kind, the intimacy of religiosity and faith, and it has kept its Islamic character clinging to it, and of course, it has not forgotten its characteristics of a period of Portuguese colonization. Today, Azemmour, despite the history, travels close to the city of El Jadida, the capital of the Dakhla. It entered the history of a city characterized by its authentic Arab character, but it keeps its character clean, and remains a witness to that glory remains its characteristics despite the passage of time. Among what always attracts the visitor to the city of Azemmour is its architectural character through these narrow streets, these old houses, and all the stories that have almost touched the legend. And just as Azemmour created controversy over its name and details of its historical events, accounts also differ as to when it was built. Some researchers confirm that it was built in the time of the Phoenicians, and others deny it and say that it was built in the time of the Romans. As for the third team, it is stated that it was built by the Berbers. Scholars disagreed not only on who built Azemmour, but even on the origin of the name, as some of them said it referred to the wild olive tree. Also, among his names is Tadiakt or Tadegt, and Laoist says his name is made up of the following phrases, Tadiagite, which means he took it or bought it. This structure is rare in the Amazigh language, and he says that this name was later transformed into the word Tazamort, then Azemmourim, then it was known in the Idrisid era as Azkar, and its name means the olive tree. In addition to the above, history books indicate that Azemmour experienced, according to anecdotal accounts, 7 earthquakes and was rebuilt in different but contiguous areas. According to researchers, the first Azemmour was in an area now called Sidi Issa, far from the coast, and with the growing sense of solace of the inhabitants of Azemmour, they approached the seaside, until they settled in the area now known as the Kasbah. Another very important fact that reinforces the fact that the city of Azemmour is an ancient metropolis, because it was, according to scholars, a center of Roman trade. History confirms that the inhabitants of the city of Azemmour converted to Islam with the advent of the Islamic conquest led by Musa bin Nusayr. Also in history we find the Barghouti steppe, which the population resisted, and only a short time remained among them, in the year 125 AH. During the time of the Almoravid state, the city experienced intense religious activity from many Sufis, the most famous of whom was Moulay Bouchab. In the year 477 AH, after the visit of the Almoravid Sultan Yusuf bin Tashfin to Azemmour, 30 ships left its port for Andalusia to take part in the Battle of Zalika against the Spaniards. Azemmour was also submitted, between 541 and 754 AH, to the control of the Almohads, then of the Marinids. The Marinid king Abu Anan built 3 mosques and sent parties of jurists and scholars to the city of Azemmour, as he fortified it. From 889 to 914 the city was exposed, during the time of the Mu'tazid state, to repeated attempts by the Portuguese to seize it, and it was besieged by a campaign consisting of 500 naval vessels which carried 2,000 cavalry and 13,000 infantry, reinforced with artillery, which led to its fall under Portuguese occupation in 1513 AD, then left after 28 years after the resistance of the townspeople, reinforced by the support of the Saudians, who brought the city under their rule. Azemmour keeps returning to captivity to be freed from it. In the year 1907 AD, the French occupation came to it, and it got rid of it like the rest of the cities of Morocco, which lived through times of resistance inscribed in history with golden water, pride and pride. It is Azemmour's relationship to the facts of the history of the invasion, starting with the Portuguese and ending with the French. These features remain etched in the face of the city, including the towers which recall the time of the Portuguese who took it as the seat of military administration, but their neighbors in northern France used the corridors of the tower as jail for angry city patriots. Like the rest of the ancient Moroccan cities, it embodied coexistence and religious tolerance, as there is the Mela, in which the Moroccan Jews of the city resided, who lived their religious life and practiced their rituals. To this day, it is still an annual pilgrimage site for Jewish families who make the journey to rediscover a shared history of coexistence that characterizes Morocco. The rule of coexistence makes the presence of Jewish shrines as well as their Islamic idolatry eclipsed by the translucent white color that reflects the iris of splendor in the general painting. Not only Azemmour, but all the ancient cities of Morocco live the same moment. Here we stop at a tomb which is considered to be one of the famous shrines which gave the city a distinguished reputation in the field of spirituality. This is the tomb of Moulay Balchaib, whose historical sources report that his name is Abu Shoaib bin Said al-Sanhaji. He was born around the year 463 in a village on the outskirts of the city of Asfi, and the same sources claim that he emigrated and traveled between Agmat, Fez and Azemmour in search of knowledge, but there is historical information indicating his visit to Andalusia and his meeting with Judge Iyad. Moulay Balchaib is not the only owner of the famous shrine, but there is also Aisha al-Bariyah, who would have died unmarried without marriage, and her wish was to marry Moulay Balchaib, but the meeting did not take place. And not to underestimate the rights of the rest of the saints, we mention among them Sidi Abu al-Nasr, Sidi al-Haya, Sidi Muhammad bin Abdullah, Sidi Ghanem, Sidi Ahmad Jabilo, Sidi Abu Ali Mansur al-Master Sidi Ali bin Gaith, Sidi Ali Wilamo, Sidi Abdel Wadid and Sidi al-Makfi Sidi al-Maki al-Sharqali, Sidi al-Jalili and al-Raki'i al-Jalili. Among the characteristics of men who gave their hearts and lives to God, we go to people's diaries and talk a bit about those traditional industries that Azemmour is famous for, especially the industries related to crafts and their skills such as spinning, embroidery, weaving carpets and making dresses. Azemmour did not forget his share of culture and art, so Al-Malhan was his adoration, even if it is a city of Daukala, relative to the Daukala tribe, who only love the art of Ada, and she is somewhat divergent with Al-Malhan, but they are united by an authentic and rhyming poetry. Azemmour has almost become the capital of savory, and there was Ahmed bin Ruqayya and Al-Hajj bin Masood al-Hijam, and we will not forget Sheikh al-Maki bin al-Jalili. We also find the composition, which was popularized in the city through artistic names such as Al-Hubali, Al-Azhar, Rahul and others. Adventurer and traveler. In addition to the above, we come to Esteban Akoti Azmouri, who marked the history of the city with his presence on the grounds that he was the first to arrive in America from Morocco and North Africa. This man, whose studies, research and novels have reported the details of his adventure, his name is Said bin Hadow, and he was called Mustafa al-Azmouri, in addition to the names he brought from Europe with him on his great journey, such as Esteban, Esteban el Moro, Esteban Nico, Stephen the Black, Stephen Moore and Little Stephen. Al-Azmouri, as Wikipedia claims, was the first known person born in North Africa to reach the land that would become the United States of America more than 2 centuries later. And he had been captured or sold because the accounts diverge about this between the years 1520-1521 AD in Morocco, where he joined the first expedition in the regions now called Florida, Southwest America in the year 1527 AD with more than 400 men under the leadership of the explorer Alvo known as Cabeza de Vaca. He was one of 4 survivors of Indian hunger, thirst, disease and arrows. Mustafa al-Azemmour was not only a prisoner who participated in the campaign, but rather played a central role in the exploration of the present United States of America, and there he died, in the legendary city of Cibola, one of the 7 cities of gold of Native Americans. Thus, Estebanico was the first foreigner to set foot on his land. Azemmour celebration in America. To this day, people of African descent in Florida hold a seasonal festival in the name of Estebanico, and every year this Moroccan, who was the first to discover Florida and the first to set foot on the land of Cibola, is famous. Americans, Mustafa Azemmour portrays in a manner consistent with the imagined community. Additionally, in Texas, a 2-meter-tall bronze statue of Mustafa al-Azemmour was erected, as one of the 12 knights who passed through the region to explore the American Southwest. On the other hand, interest in Mustafa Azemmour was not only on a societal level among African Americans, but rather went beyond an academic interest, as he was considered an intercontinental and cultural traveler. The University of Granada chose him as a model in a symposium on bringing people together. I think we owe him a lot. We owe him to remember the past and the relationships between different cultures, and how that really worked, says scientist Natalie Plesser in a documentary about Azemmour. And we owe him what we can learn from this past. Returning to the selection of Azemmour by the University of Granada as a model of rapprochement between peoples, the American pop star Robert Marable, winner of several Grammy Music Awards, originally from the Taz tribe, one of the Pueblo tribes to which belongs the Zuni tribe belongs, was hosted. This American star confirmed that Esteban was one of the first people he saw in the Pueblo. For specialist Natalie Plesser, the number of stories about Azemmour is only equal to the number of names he bears, such as Saeed bin Haddou, Mustafa Azemmour, Esteban de Azemmour, Estebanico, Esteban the Moroccan, Estebanico Black. As for the Moroccan researcher and novelist Shoaib Halafi, he confirms in the same documentary tape that the image of Mustafa al-Azemmour cannot bring together all its mosaic elements in this single book by Cabeza. It can only be imagined in the legendary epics that have been written about personalities deep within their knowledge. Mustafa Azemmour Estebanico remains unfaithful in his house and his city. Moroccans do not know much about him and do not realize that one of them was or who discovered Florida, but rather the only foreigner who entered Cibola according to the stories of the Native American tribes who welcomed him and made him one of them. Therefore, if the complexities of history refer to the intertwining of stories about the name and history of the establishment of Azemmour, then it offers its visitor simplicity and simplicity of today. Azemmour has nothing to hide, showing its roads, buildings and nature without any barriers. For anyone who wants to sip a cup of its purity, there is no objection as the pulse is honest and pure, and the city protects itself by continuing to walk and make life. Full stop. Please subscribe, like and activate the bell if you like the content to continue with more. Give your opinions and suggestions in the comments so that we can develop the channel. Thank you.